everybody, it's me, Lisa T, coming at you with some positive energy reading The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beattie from the beach. From the beach on vacay in this magical place, having multiple spiritual experiences and multiple self-revelations and life revelations, and it's just been a trip in a trip. So and still doing the work, still making sure that on a daily basis I'm doing what helps me in my recovery journey. So this is part of it. So we are now reading August 4th, vulnerability. I remember it was like just even like 2 years ago, I think, and my best friend said to me, like, you got to get vulnerable, Lisa. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm so vulnerable. I'm always talking about my feelings and like going deep and everything like that. But because she's my best friend, she could see that I was still not being able to be fully honest with people about my experience or what was coming up for me. Like, I had to get more vulnerable, and I had to take a different level of vulnerability so that I could get a different level of recovery. So vulnerability, super important. Being vulnerable, it's scary, but it's so healing when you can do it. Because also what vulnerability mainly does for me is it relieves the shame that binds us. When we're scared to say something, when we're scared to talk our truths, then we're holding it back out of fear that someone's going to judge it or reject us or abandon us because of it, or dismiss us, or etc. But when we speak our truths, then we're also being vulnerable, and then we get to get freedom from that and relieve the shames. So August 4th, vulnerability. I've learned that the more vulnerable I allow myself to be, the more in control of myself I really am. The more vulnerable I allow myself to be, the more control of myself, more in control of myself I really am. So we get to be more vulnerable and allow ourselves to be that, and then we get to be in control because we're speaking our truth. So we get to live in our truth, and then we get to be in control of our experience, of ourselves. That's what I think it means. So here we go. Many of us feel that we can only show our strong, confident side. Yep, that was me. I remember, like, nope, always got to be a ray of sunshine, always got to see the positive and got to share that positivity. And I like to do that, but there's another side to me that, experiences pain and fears and I've explained this many times too, that my therapist would always tell me, Lisa, you're so brave. You're so, and I'd be like, what do you mean? Like, I'm so brave. Like, because with her, talking about this deep stuff. And I learned that even in therapy, some people don't go there, don't go to that depth of their real true selves, their real vulnerability places. So when we do that, it's it is strong and confident. So but a lot of the times we go out into the world showing just one good side of us. So many of us feel that we can only show our strong, confident side. We believe the face we have to show to the world should always be one of politeness, perfection, calm, strength, and control. Always be on your best behavior kind of thing. But the good news is we're human, and when you show your vulnerability to someone else, it gives them permission to show their vulnerability to you, and then you get to both live in your truth, and then there's freedom in that. So while it is certainly good and often appropriate to be in control, calm and strong, there is another side to all of us. That part of us that feels needy, becomes frightened, has doubts, and gets angry. I was just talking about the anger piece with one of my girls that was visiting. And I was saying, like, anger is a healthy emotion. It can keep us safe. It can protect us from like unhealthy relationships, unhealthy situations. Anger is a healthy emotion. It's resentments we don't want to hold. And if we feel anger, we got to express it in a healthy way in the moments. We don't take our anger out on someone else, or especially, and I've learned that, expressing the anger I feel about someone else, it's never really good to, express that, because anger can be hard to to move through with someone. So, but we still have to express that anger, or else it gets stuck at us. So the part of us that feels we go in the world thinking we want to just show the good side, and not show the part of us that feels needy or becomes frightened or has doubts and gets angry. That part of us that needs care, love, and reassurance. Those parts need us. Those parts that are angry, those parts that are frightened, they need us to show up for them. So that part of us that needs care, love, and reassurance that things will be okay. When we're angry, when we're frightened, when I'm angry or frightened, I've said this to people, I just need someone to tell me it's gonna be okay. And you know, sometimes if we are frightened, and then you know, like I've told you, like when we're in flight or flight, our frontal lobe is turned off, so we can't think clearly. So hearing it from an outside source, like, you know, we can tell to ourselves that everything's going to be okay, but hearing it from an outside source is sometimes necessary too. So that part of us that needs care, love, and reassurance that things will be okay. Expressing these needs makes us vulnerable and less than perfect. This perfection thing, right? So it's okay to not be perfect all the time. Oh my God, it's such a relief to not be perfect all the time. So expressing these needs makes us vulnerable and less than perfect. But this side needs our acceptance too. Accepting, I feel angry right now. Accepting, I feel frightened. Now, when you accept it, then you don't try to stop it and you allow it to be, and then it can flow through you and not get stuck in you. So allowing ourselves to be vulnerable will help us build lasting relationships. The more vulnerable you are with someone, the stronger your connection becomes with them. So allowing ourselves to be vulnerable will help us build lasting relationships. Sharing our vulnerabilities helps us feel close to people and helps others feel close to us. Like I said, when you become vulnerable with someone, you give them permission to become vulnerable with you. And connection is the cure for all of these you know, codependency things, these addiction things, all of that. Connection. We're all seeking connection. Sharing our vulnerabilities helps us feel close to people, that helps others feel close to us. It helps us grow in self-love and self-acceptance. It helps us become healing agents. You get to, when you do this work yourself, you then get to be a healing agent for the world and for yourself too. It allows us to become whole. We get to be whole and accessible to others. That's beautiful. Today, here's your prayer for today. Today, I will allow myself to be vulnerable with others when it is safe and appropriate to do so. You got to pick and choose too. You got to learn. You got to learn how or who is the appropriate people to do that. We don't just go, that's a boundary thing. If just go being vulnerable to everybody. I used to do that too. I used to just like spew it all out, everything that was going on. I had no boundaries. So we need boundaries, and we got to learn by spending more time by taking a step at being vulnerable, and then another step at being vulnerable with people that are close to us, so that because there's a time and place, and there's a place where it's safe and appropriate to do this. Okay, one more time for the prayer. Today, I will allow myself to be vulnerable with others when it's safe and appropriate to do so. That's it. Amen. Thanks for watching. Mwah. Love you all.